The Italian consulate presented a fashion retrospective showcasing 70 years of Italian genius. I'm Louise Scoble and this is Trendz Travel. So coming up right now, let's go see some fashion.
The more fashion evolves, the more it stays the same. You'll agree with me when I say some fashion items that turned heads as far back as the 20s to the 70s, 80s and 90s are now making their way back in the fashion scene. This past weekend, Santon's Diamond Walk attracted fashion lovers who attended a first-of-its-kind exhibition that showcased some of the well-known Italian fashion designers in celebration of 70 years of Italian fashion. Fashion designer and style consultant Francesco Lafaro curated the exhibition.
The inspiration it was just to pick up from their huge archives 70 more or less years of Italian fashion, passing through industrial movement, passing through our heritage until the new well-known made in Italy. That was the inspiration, just to summarize is something like horrible, but summarize a century of Italian fashion movement. We try to start from the 50s, where the divisme movement started with the Hollywood and Cinecittà, with Le Sorelle Fontana, Irene Galazzin, passing through Valentino, and then it comes from 50 to 60 and until the 70s with Franco Moschino and then Gianni Versace here until the 90 and the new millennium with Gianfranco Ferré, all those new designers.
Some of the dresses on display here have been worn by international stars such as models Kate Moss, Naomi Campbell, as well as Princess Diana, just to name a few. But has the fashion or design evolved over the past 70 years?
In these 70 years, the fashion has evolved a lot, because there is not only a fashion, a movement like a culture who change, but change in terms of economic, in terms of industrial, in terms of heritage, in terms of social. Because if you think in the 50s there was the phenomenon of diva processing by the Cinecittà and Hollywood star system. Nowadays we are speaking not about diva, but about influencer with social media. So it means we are under processing now, and we don't care, because we are under influencer.
If you are a lover of vintage fashion, the 70 years of Italian fashion genius could just be for you.
Coming up next, we take you behind the scenes at the Soweto Theatre of one of their latest Pocket of Knowledge.
It's 8 o'clock Exeni, Bafundi, Basaki, Caesar, High School, Genani, Sheshani, Putmani, scholars of Bana.
Pockets of Knowledge is a very interesting story about these two young boys who grew up in the, I almost said township, but they grow up in the rural areas. And what happens is that they witness this incredible change where there's development that's happening in the rural areas, but this development threatens the old ways of how they used to live and the way that the community was led and all of that. And while they watch this whole thing happening, as we play it out, as these two actors were narrating and playing the story, you really see the destructive forces of bad leadership and corruption and but it's all told through the eyes of these two boys who are watching all of this action taking place in a high school, which is in a rural area, high school called Sakiseso High School, and it all starts building and going on until it reaches a destructive end. We wanted to create a theatre that would be interesting to see from the perspective of two young black performers. So we were inspired by the work that my father had done over the years, Begum Kwane, where he was traveling the world with Ellis Pearson, and they were doing theatre that was so reliant on just the body. And so we created our own style, which was sort of like a copy of what they did.
Mr. Ask for the great work mathematics assignment, sir.
Can't you come here, sir?
No, Teacher Mkuliakula has been away from school for 2 days now.
Why can't you come here himself?
I told you Teacher Mkuliakula.
I actually play in Jabula a number of characters in the play. Anele plays more. He actually plays many more characters than me. I play a principal, but the main character that obviously plays the story, which is I play Sihle. He plays Malusi. And these two boys then tell the story, and then they transform into all these different characters. So I end up playing a gravedigger by the name of Mzala, and then I play a character by the name of Tishum Tembu, who's a central principal role, and then he plays dozens of other characters, I think 6 or 7.
Listen here, let me bloody airtime.
There's one who goes by the name of Mr. Mtambo, who's like the culprit. Well, he's the kind of guy with the money. He comes in to change people. Like, okay, I've got the money, so let's listen to what I've got to say. So he starts changing the whole. I don't want to sell the story though, but I start changing more than a few things, you know. And then there's the young boy who goes by the name of Melusi, who witnessed all of this, and he's the one who now is telling the story. He's one of the narrators in the story. And another character is a grave digger who goes by the name of Ubafo, who falls victim to the briberism that's in the show. He falls victim to it, and it's a matter of these. There are many principles that we can choose from. There are principle-centered people. There are pleasure-centered people. Which I believe, if we're all principle-centered people, we could make a better world. You know what I mean?
We've worked extremely hard on the show. It's about maybe the third time we're doing it, so people are going to see a lot of physical theatre. We're going to see magic on stage because it's two performers using nothing, but they create buildings, they create graveyards, we create multiple characters. You're going to see people using their voices to stretch space, time and imagination. So it's a very magical piece of theatre which is rare, and it's dying out, and it's done in the way that it was done authentically, in the way of like Koza Albert with Mbongeni Ngema and Begum Kwane and Ellis Pearson. So it's going to be quite interesting, and it's extremely funny as well.
One story.
They'll receive an explosive amount of energy. Well, it's a very energetic show. It's a physical theatre piece as well, poor theatre as well. So the people are really going to get a taste of a lot of different things, but I don't want to also... But all I want to say is that the people are going to be really excited to receive the show, because it's a very... There's nothing else but these actors, and you're going to see them. They're going to be making sounds, whatever. We don't have any sound coming out for the PA system. All of the sounds we make through our vocal capabilities. And so I really think that people should come and see this. It's an experience. They're going to experience an experience.
Before we take a very short break, I'd like to remind you to catch us on Twitter or on Instagram. That's on Trendz on SABC using the hashtag SABC News.
It is worrying indeed when any publication has to close down. So it is really getting tough from the point of view of lack of sufficient readership to the issue of social media.
How influential is the media still? Twitter, Facebook are influencing people far more than mainstream newspapers nowadays.
The media has greater responsibility compared to Twitter. The media itself is governed by certain codes, and it must abide by those codes.
Threatened, attacked and killed, journalists are also being imprisoned in record numbers around the world.
If you mention and name particular journalists, you actually put them at risk.
We were media activists, and I believe we still are today. A journalist is an endangered species today.
Watch Media Monitor Sundays at 9 a.m.
Welcome back to Trendz Travel. Right now, Nadia takes us to a craft distillery which produces unique destination drinks.
Road trips are always fun. There's so much to see and enjoy along the way. This time, as Trendz Travel, we went up north to Limpopo. Who would have thought that hot weather is perfect for creating craft whiskies, gin and vodka? Sunny Palabora is home to this distillery. Family owned and run by a passionate woman, this place has become a cool hangout spot.
We came all the way to Palabora from Joburg to your distillery. So tell us what we have here.
Good morning, Nadia. Thank you, guys. It's a lovely day in Palabora. It's very humid and hot. I think we can all feel it. Okay, Colita Craft Distillery started way back. It was a hobby. We started very small. We started originally with a 60-litre kettle just to see if we can make a very good alcohol that can produce what they call a virgin whiskey. And we got the nicest alcohol. It took us well, we first just start with alcohol. Now we don't have a product. You just need to get the alcohol quality as good as possible, because if your base is not good, none of the products would be good. You know, a lot of people buy the alcohol in and redistill it and say they've got this very nice gin. But the magic lies in the fermentation. Can you actually do the fermentation to get that quality alcohol out? And that is what the whole secret is about Colita. And that's the name as well. Quality.
With no knowledge in whiskey production, she took a leap of faith, drove all the way to Parow in the Western Cape for the perfect barrel. With a vision to create sweet whiskey, she was advised to use second-hand wine barrels, and it worked like magic. While waiting for the whiskey to mature, she had to make something in order to pay the bills. So she got the idea of vodka infusions.
I love infusions. From food infusions, oil infusions, perfume infusions. And I said to Pierre, maybe we must try recipes on vodka infusions. We also, at that stage, I was very new to the retail market in terms of liquor. And I decided, okay, we are in the gin era, so I must make a gin. But again, I was confronted with everybody is doing London Dry, and in Palabora it's humid and the heat is good. You want a gin that is sweet in the palate so that you can drink it time and again next to the swimming pool. Greyhawk is a lovely story. It is a hawk that is just in the Palabora area up until Satara, and it's a grey hawk with orange yellow beak and feet, and it's actually double jointed, so it can actually grab inside the nest, but it's got a very sharp view, and out of the clear Palabora sky it looks down onto our distillery to ensure that the quality is correct.
Now it's time to taste.
Nadine, I hope you are ready to taste this. I asked you previously if you had breakfast. The Heimer whiskey, the name was derived from our surname, Robenheimer. And what we've done is we actually took a little bit of the barrel scraping in the inside and put it back into the whiskey, so that the whiskey can automatically mature to a 4-year and a 5th year and going on. You'll see the wood shavings actually create a very nice feature inside the bottles. So whereby a whiskey collector normally buys a whiskey and the value of the whiskey remain the same. With this, the whiskey's value will increase every year as it continues to age within the bottle. We are going to taste the Heimer whiskey now. You'll pick up butterscotch and hazelnut notes. You're first going to smell the whiskey precisely like a perfume, because you actually want to smell if all that esters, that nice aromas is coming through.
It smells very sweet.
Okay, now we're going to do a little taste. What you do, you don't take a big taste, a little taste, and you're going to roll it around your gums, in front of your mouth, in the back of your mouth, in order to pick up all the sensations that you get. And then after rolling it, you're going to get it down, and you're going to have a medium burn.
Yeah. It does burn, and I do taste butterscotch. Okay, so we've just tasted the kicker of a whiskey. What do we have here?
Okay, Nadine, remember when I previously spoke about I had to pay the water and electricity and the infusions that I made, the coffee and the lychee and the watermelon? Now we are at this table to taste these beauties. Now, here you can see, I'm going to open up for you. This is how we make the coffee infusion. You can smell it. The nice coffee beans and the aromas that comes from that. Okay, so let's start with the first one and see what your facial expression do. They say at the end of the day, the beauty is in the taste. So here's a very nice lychee infusion. It's only got 15% alcohol. You can sip it. You can drink it as is. You can put it with Sprite or soda. You can put it over fruit salad. You can put it in a Dom Pedro. But I think first taste.
I think I like the fruit salad idea.
It's quite nice. You must just remember not the kids to have the fruit salad.
I actually think I like the fruit salad. Okay, let's taste.
Let's taste.
Okay, so what is this?
The lychee.
That's lychee, okay. It smells nice.
I think it would taste nice as well.
Yes.
Yes. I thought you would love that.
Love.
Love, love, love.
Next.
Then we've got the wonderful watermelon. You will see the watermelon has got pink lips. Somebody asked me, Lamri, why did you lips? I said, no, these products are just kissable.
They are, I agree.
The watermelon has got a nice pink shade to it. And the watermelon comes all the way in the Limpopo province from Hoedspruit, where they are actually growing them.
Oh, these are lovely.
With love, passion and hard work, Marie brought her vision to life.
We've got a lot more of Trendz travel coming up after the break, so don't go anywhere.
Years go by and new faces are born. New villains and new drama queens. We look back and reflect on the memories that serve us. A tight bond molding us together, creating stories that will last forever. Make your evenings memorable. Weekdays on SABC 1. Mzansi for sure.
It is worrying indeed when any publication has to close down. So it is really getting tough from the point of view of lack of sufficient readership to the issue of social media.
How influential is the media still? Twitter, Facebook are influencing people far more than mainstream newspapers nowadays.
The media has greater responsibility compared to Twitter. The media itself is governed by certain codes and it must abide by those codes.
Threatened, attacked and killed, journalists are also being imprisoned in record numbers around the world.
If you mention and name particular journalists, you actually put them at risk.
We were media activists, and I believe we still are today. A journalist is an endangered species today.
Watch Media Monitor Sundays at 9 a.m.
We are at the forefront of Africa's tech discussion.
We're already planning for the 5G spectrum to be licensed by 2020.
In Mauritius, for fiber migration, we had a strategy. On network, we have gadgets, robots, and more.
We focus on investing in entrepreneurs and technology in emerging markets.
There's technology and social media news on Network with me, Spumelele Zondi, every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. and every Sunday at 5:30 p.m.
Coming up next, we take you to the restaurant of the year, which actually happens to be right here in South Africa.
In a small fishing village on South Africa's rugged west coast, restaurant Kobus van der Merwe is struggling to process his meteoric rise to gastronomic stardom. He recently got back from Paris, where his 20-cover Wolfgurt was named Restaurant of the Year at the inaugural World Restaurant Awards, also winning the Remote Localization Prize.
When we heard about the long list, we were completely gobsmacked because in our category, which was the off-map destination for restaurants not in a city, in a remote location, there are restaurants that we literally hero worship, and we were like, this is insane. We can't believe that we're even considered in the same realm as, you know, really well-known, well-established international restaurants. And never dreamt of even making the shortlist, let alone winning the category. So yeah, we were really like taken by surprise completely.
Others on that shortlist included Japanese wild dining sensation Tokuyamazushi. Of both prizes, he added, "We never dreamt of making the shortlist, let alone winning." Situated in Paternoster, about 160 kilometers northwest of Cape Town, Wolfgurt's specialty is seafood. Van der Merwe's 7-course tasting menu pays homage to the region's long-gone indigenous inhabitants, and his signature dishes are flavored and supplemented with ingredients foraged locally, such as seaweed and succulent plants. They include rooibos tea smoked yellowtail with dune spinach and buttermilk rusk, and freshly baked served with bokum, that is salted dry fish butter and infused herbs.
We certainly don't aspire to being in the city because the West Coast is our muse. I can't see Wolfgurt existing anywhere else. It's intrinsic to its environment.
Guests at the 130-year-old whitewashed restaurant, nestled above caves within hearing distance of crashing waves, pay 450 rand or 1,400 rand including drinks. Van der Merwe, who took the plunge into full-time cooking before completing his culinary studies, said he had no wish to expand or replicate his restaurant in an urban setting. His clientele is split evenly between foreign tourists visiting the village and well-heeled South Africans. But those who make the 2-hour drive from Cape Town had better be sure of their reservations before they set out, because he's fully booked for the next 3 months.
How many more?
Well, I think it's absolutely amazing. I mean, it seems so unlikely that a little restaurant like that, perched on a cliff overlooking this incredibly magnificent beach, could win an award like that, because when you have a look at it, it looks so inconsequential and so simple, but I believe that the food is amazing. I understand they get everything that they cook from around here. They go foraging, and I just think it's wonderful that a place like Paternoster could have a restaurant like that. That's the best in the world. It's unbelievable.
The best restaurant of the world. Of the world.
Declared a national cultural treasure in 1998, this collection, titled A Black Aesthetic, a view of South African artists, represents over 150 black South African artists from various backgrounds whose style and approach to art is unique. Presented for the first time outside of the Eastern Cape since 1992, the exhibition draws from the University of Forte's art collection, and it features the likes of renowned black South African artists like Gerard Sikoto, George Pemba, Dumile Feni, and Gladys Mgudlundlu, amongst others. But what inspired this collection?
It was mainly informed by the collection itself.
Fort Hare is, of course, one of the historically black universities, and I think it was quite appropriate to have found a collection of this magnitude, which is of black artists in particular. I then looked at the publication around the collection, and then started trying to draw out themes within the artworks themselves, and that's how I came about with the title. I was really just trying to question the idea of, is there something about the conditions in which black artists lived that informs the kind of work that they make? Hence the question of, is there a black aesthetic?
A black aesthetic, a view of South African artists, includes a wide range of disciplines such as drawings, paintings and sculptures of South African artists working between the period of 1970 and 1990, leading to the first democratic elections in 1994.
I wanted to show again the kind of versatility that each of these artists had, that they could move from making two-dimensional works, like whether it's painting, whether it's pastel, to making three-dimensional work, and really being kind of skilled at it, and understanding how stylistically, formally, a sculpture needs to be put together in terms of space, volume and mass.
The artwork has been influenced by the Black consciousness movement.
When I was looking at the works in the collection, I started identifying works that had a kind of a commonality. And these ones, of course, are works that are depicting what we've, the township. And at the same time, so in curating and selecting the works, I wanted to intentionally pick works that would kind of challenge the idea of so-called township art, and show works that are vibrant, that are colorful, again to dispel this idea that the township was this miserable place. Yes, it was a difficult space to live in during apartheid, even now to a certain extent. But I wanted to depict it in such a way that it shows again the character of the people, the character of each township.
The exhibition aims to encourage future generations to engage with the rich heritage in the visual and creative arts.
And that's all we have here in this week's edition of Trendz Travel. Remember to catch us on Twitter and on Instagram. That's @OnTrendz on SABC using the hashtag SABC News. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place.
We are at the forefront of Africa's tech discussion.
We're already planning for the 5G spectrum to be licensed by 2020.
In Mauritius, for fiber migration, we had a strategy. On network, we have gadgets, robots and more.
We focus on investing in entrepreneurs and technology in emerging markets.
There's technology and social media news on Network with me, Spumelele Zondi, every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. and every Sunday at 5:30 p.m.
The Drakensberg is the name given to the eastern portion of Great Escarpments, which encloses the central Southern Africa plateau. The name means Drakensberge in Afrikaans and is called Ukahlamba in isiZulu, which means barrier of spears. The Drakensberg escarpment stretches for over 1,000 kilometers from Eastern Cape, then forms the border between Lesotho and the Eastern Cape, and the border between Lesotho and KwaZulu-Natal. It then forms the border between KwaZulu-Natal and the Free State, and next as the border between KwaZulu-Natal and Mpumalanga. It winds north through Mpumalanga, where it includes features such as Blade River Canyon, Three Rendezvous, and God's Window. The Drakensberg is the highest mountain range in the country, reaching 3,482 meters above sea level.